Today, I've got a guitar lesson for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the relation between chords, scales, and developing melodies on the guitar. So stick around, I'll tell you all about my philosophy when it comes to it. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, make sure to visit our Teespring store below for our custom designed t-shirts. So today, I'm going to be talking about the way I approach the guitar when it comes to developing melodies and even understanding what others have written. Now, if you're like me, and maybe some of you aren't, I used to look at music and tablature and kind of scratch my head when trying to understand and learn someone else's song. And it finally dawned on me one day that what I was doing was looking at every single note or every single dot on tab as its own thing and trying to play based upon that understanding. And it's the wrong way to approach the guitar. The correct way to approach it is to understand where a chord and the scale of the key that you're in comes into play with that melody. Because every single time, I guarantee it without fail, that you are looking at someone's music that they've written or you are trying to write music on your own, it comes down to the chords and the scales around that melody. That's how we effectively play. But sometimes we might kind of know that and not know that. At least that was the case for me. I, early on, when trying to learn some of these pieces, realized that the way that I was approaching what was written on the page was not at all the way I actually played when I sat down and developed something on my own. And guess what? That's not how the artist that I'm trying to learn from did it either. And so today I want to show you exactly how this works. Now you can call this embellished chords, or you can simply understand that when you're playing a chord, there's a particular scale there, and those notes in the scale along with the chord form that you're at help you to develop a melody. So let's just jump right into it, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with one of the pieces that we often play on this channel. Now, I've had a lot of questions and requests for tab on this, and I promise at some point we'll be able to develop tab for some of these pieces. All of these pieces are basically things, melodies or whatnot, that I come up with on my own to demonstrate on the channel, because we don't want to deal with copyright infringement, and they're just things that I like and came up with one day when playing. This piece is very much like that. I was warming up one day and came up with the song and ended up writing more of it for one of my sons that was born. So we're going to start up here on the neck, and this is basically at the 7th fret starting on the A string with an open E. It's effectively an E5 chord, or like a power chord. We're just playing the E and then the 5th and then the octave, okay? With the low E in it. Now, the reason I get a lot of questions about this is because there's embellishments that I make with this in order to create a melody. And I want you to understand what's actually happening as we play this. So here's the piece, and I'm sure you've heard it before if you've watched any of our videos. Now, you may notice that my hand's really not moving a whole lot. And in fact, that was one of the things that stymied me for a long time when watching professional guitar players. There's an economy of motion. They don't seem to be moving about all over the place, but I'm hearing all sorts of things happening. Well, that's what happens when you understand what's going on here, both with the chord and the scale. So like I said, we're playing an E5 chord. But starting right here, there is an E and another E. So we already have an octave. And from here, we can go up the major scale, and you'll see some of the notes that I'm playing in that little melody. Right there, that is the E major scale. Now, I'm not playing a pentatonic scale or anything like that. It's just an E major scale. But because I'm playing in that key, and I've got the chord form right there, I can play along that scale to get melodies like this. Basically, that's what we're doing. That's how I'm developing that melody from the position I'm playing at. A lot of times, you might see that on a tab sheet or even notation, and if you don't recognize the chord itself, you'll see that as individual notes. And when you try to play it that way, it becomes basically impossible. Let's give you another example, starting down here at the first position, because as you might know, this is the upper register, but this is the cash register. Okay, this is where money's made in coffee shops all over the world. So first position is a great position. You shouldn't not like it for any reason because it's simple or cowboy chords or anything like that. And you can make subtle changes to songs to really create melodies, create harmonies. Whether you're singing or accompanying someone, you can do things very easily down here with basic chords that most of us know in order to really add to what's going on in the song. So as an example, we'll play a G. And then something that you might hear me play, again on this channel, is something like this. Or another song that a lot of you like is very similar. Same position, same chord. All of those notes and that melody that you're hearing is based upon the chords that we're playing in this key that we're in. We're in the key of G, okay? Let's figure out where the G major scale is. So it's right here. If we take it up another octave, all of those notes being in the scale basically will allow us to play any of them with the chords that we're playing with the song, and it will sound correct. In other words, that's your roadmap for the melody that you're going to write. So if we're playing that, those other notes that I'm adding are just part of that scale. Hopefully that makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you understand the key that you're playing in, maybe you already have a song that you're playing in chords, you can embellish them with melodies. In fact, you can write entire songs along these lines. You could take G, C, and D, and instead of just playing G, C, and D, you can make it much, much more. Here's an example. Basically the exact same chords, understanding the notes that surround those chords based upon the major scale that you're in allows you to play melodies that go along with what you're playing. Another great thing to understand is what else is happening just beyond the position that you're in with the same scale elsewhere on the fretboard. A good example of this is one of the songs that I play, which I call Hopeful. And instead of playing C here, I move to C here. It's the exact same note. It's just in a different position on the neck, utilizing a different string. So instead of playing C here, I could play C here and create an entirely new melody to it. It's even fun to do this with some other chords to understand different forms that they have, like D. But you can play a different form of D with a minor in there and some other things that I can't even think of off the top of my head to really give it more color. So one of the songs that I do that takes advantage of this moves from G to C to D, pretty much the same chords we've been looking at, or the same root chord, and then utilizing the different notes within the scales to create melodies. That's D. Sounds different when you move up the neck, and actually that can bring its own color to the song that you're playing. But you can create these melodies as you learn the scale in different positions. that is in fact the G scale coming down. That's all it is. So take some time to understand kind of the roadmap of the fretboard. And when you're sitting down, you're trying to learn a song, or I encourage you to write your own music, take a look at the chords that you're playing. They're chords that you probably already know. And the nice thing about music is whether it's a major key or a minor key or one of the various modes, your ear tends to know what's right and wrong. Whether it should go like this, or it should go like this. If it's a major scale, you can hear the difference between them. So I hope this encourages you, and I hope this short lesson gives you some insight into how I approach the guitar and how I think a lot of players approach it when they are playing something or even writing their own music. When you then take a look at notation or tablature, make sure to understand each of those phrases within the context of its own chord and the scale of the key that you're in, and you will be able to unlock the rest of the fretboard. If you found this helpful, let us know below. Click like. If you didn't, click the other button. Either way, I hope you subscribe and follow us on this channel. We want to help you get from where you are to where you want to be when it comes to playing your musical instrument, because I think it's one of the most profound personal expressions you can possibly find in your life. Remember, the best guitar is the one that you're making music on. We want to help you to do that. So make sure to subscribe, follow us, and I'll see you next time.